Hello, I'm Dan Ware. Welcome to Frankly Franklin. If you've been in downtown Franklin recently, no doubt you have seen the new look for the R.H. Moore Drug Company. Moore's is the oldest continuously operated building or business in the same location in the city of Franklin. There's a lot of history associated with that business, and I have with me today the current owner, Robert Graves, and Robert has been with the company for over 40 years, and in spite of having worked at Moore's for 40 years, he's only been there a third of the time the store's been open. That's something, Robert.
Yeah,
That's a record not many stores will match, I'll bet.
not in this day and time now.
Okay, so Robert has agreed to come in and talk a little bit about the store in the last third of its history, and he was kind enough to give me a little booklet that Gilbertine Moore, who is the granddaughter of the founder of the store, published when they had their 100th anniversary all the way back in 1974. And I learned several things from reading that. Mr. Moore, Randolph Henderson Moore, started it, and about the turn of the century, his son Randolph Gilbert came into the business, and it stayed in the Moore family until after World War I, and then the Duncans acquired it, George and Cyril Duncan, Red Duncan, and I guess, did you ever know any of the Moores other than Gilbertine, Robert?
Just Gilbertine's the only one.
All right. So her, by the time you got acquainted with her, I guess her parents had passed on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Did she? She wrote this book that I was holding up. Does she ever come into the store? Does she have she told you any stories about the old days?
Yeah, she comes in. She's a real good, nice lady, very nice lady. She comes in as a customer, and then sometimes she just comes in. She's told me times when she was a little girl that she would stay in there with her parents, and one time she crawled in one of the showcases and went to sleep and went fell in, but little anecdotes like that. Other than that, no, she doesn't. No.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Of course, she's never actually worked in the store herself. She, but she's been associated. I mean, she's kept up with what's going on, I'm sure, over the years.
Well, I know she was a seed analyst for many years, and she's got other stories to tell. She has written some books about her experiences. But even though the name Moore's stayed with it, the actual ownership of the Moores was over in the 20s or 30s, and the Duncans came in. Now, did you know either one of them?
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Red hired me right out of high school.
Okay.
I never knew Mr. George. He deceased before.
I see. Okay.
But sometime in the early 50s, I'm not exactly when. And I didn't start till 59.
Okay. But now Red Duncan would have stayed with the store, what, for another 10 years or so after you started, maybe?
He stayed with the store till he died, I think, in 1977, 76 or 70, that's been 77. He was active up until his death.
Okay. Now, he was from Scotland originally.
They were born in Scotland, he and George. George was a little older, I think.
Did they have that Scottish accent? Could you tell when you talked to them?
Not really. I couldn't tell.
Okay.
I think the reason they came here, his father came over to do some of the masonry work on what was the old Cardamore Hospital.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the reason they were in Franklin.
And just stayed, I guess, after
Just stayed.
they got that done. Yeah, yeah.
And
All
then Mr. George married into the Roby family, Rebecca, Miss Rebecca Roby Duncan. And she at one time part owner also. She owned some shares along with her husband.
Right. And a lot of people will remember when Carl Schwab was a pharmacist there. And I believe he was maybe a part owner before you were,
He was a part owner
right?
too. He was a stockholder. They incorporated back in 49, 50, they took over the lease on the old Kroger building, which is the 113 West Cedar side, the east side. They remodeled it and tried to make it as much one building as they could for it to be architecturally sound.
Up until then, it had just been in the western half.
Yeah, it had been a partnership, with the 115 side. They made it, they incorporated in, I think, January 1, 1950. Don't quote me exactly on that date, but it was that time period.
Good enough. Okay.
And Mr. Red, Mr. George, and Miss Rebecca each owned the shares. At George's death, Mr. Red acquired more shares, and then at Miss Rebecca's death in the early 70s, I acquired her shares.
I see. Okay.
At her death, or just prior to.
Well, now you were telling me before we started that a Mr. Dent of Bowling Green, who was a part of the ownership of the CDS drugstores in Bowling Green, and then his last name was where the D came from, which I didn't know until you told me that. But he also owned part of Moore's for a time.
He had he was one of the partners back with during the 20s, 30s era, when I'm not real familiar what, but I think maybe Mr. Red bought out his portion.
Okay.
And
But you were telling me that by virtue of this fellow's connection, that that helped you get a scholarship, right, to go to pharmacy school, or is that kind of right? Or?
That's why I'm here today.
Really? Okay.
I had never thought about going into pharmacy. That was I never even thought about it. Mr. Red and asked some of the people in my high school graduating class who they thought would be a good person to contact about taking the scholarship. He was the contact person in Simpson County for the scholarship. And they recommended me. I gave him my name. He called me, wanted to know if I'd be interested. And I said, well, I'll think about it, And he said, well, and then I told him I'd give it a try. And he said, well, you'll need to work in the drugstore and get some practice. So the second day after I graduated from high school, I went to work there.
Okay.
And that's the only paying job I've ever had.
Is that right? Your only paying job has been this?
I tell a lot of people I can't sympathize with people filling out applications or looking for a job, because I've never filled out an application in my life. I've never had to look for a job. I've always had a job.
Yeah.
And I know I've been lucky in that way, but I've never had to go anywhere.
So we don't need to ask you for help in writing resumes.
No, I wouldn't know where to start. I started out working at the fountain. Back then, the fountain was a big business. Of course, that was the days before the discounters came to town.
Right.
Fountain was very busy. Another guy and I, our main job was to keep the ice filled up, keep the dishes washed. Back then, you didn't use plastic or disposable things. You served on glassware where possible, and they were washed and reused. And my job was full-time, basically filling up keeping everything, the syrups and everything filled up, the ice filled up, and the dishes washed.
Well, does that mean that you were a soda jerk?
I was a soda jerk assistant.
Soda.
Then I got graduated up to stock person boy. Mr. Red told me I need to work on the description side, learning the stock.
Right.
So I went to doing stock work over there, stocking up the shelves over there each morning.
Right.
And then helping out in the prescription department by keeping back then we dispensed a lot of liquids and we'd buy them in bulk in gallon jugs, and my job was to each morning fill up the pint bottles
from the
the gallons.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now, you went to school at UK, right?
Right, yes, sir. I did a pre-pharmacy at Western.
Okay.
And then I did the pharmacy school at UK.
Okay. So
Graduated.
While you were in school, did you keep working on
I
weekends?
worked summers and holidays. Anytime I was in town, as long as 2 days, I worked. So.
Yeah. So you kept your hand in all the way through. Any? I'm sure that some pretty hard studying involved in that. Did you ever, while you were doing that studying, ever second guess and think, did I make the right decision, or?
Every day. It wasn't so much the work. I just didn't know that I really wanted to go into pharmacy. That still didn't light my fire. But I wanted a college education, and since somebody else was paying most of it, I thought, well, I'll just go along for the ride and jump off the train at the last minute. But there never was a convenient time to jump off. So part of the agreement to get the scholarship was after you get your degree and get registered, you would come back and work in one of the 3 counties, Warren, Allen, or Simpson County, for a year.
Right.
That was the only obligation you signed.
So after that year, you
and so I thought, well, I'll get my degree and work my year, and then I'll decide what I really want to do.
Have you decided yet?
Not yet.
Still working.
Still trying to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
But it's been a good experience. I made a good. As it's turned out, things have worked out.
Well, I think that everybody probably that lives here has been in that store multiple times and could describe the layout. And we'll talk a little bit about the changes that have recently been made. But tell me a little bit more about the layout in 59. You said the soda fountain was on the west wall, was bigger, and took up
More
bigger
space.
and I guess seated more people than you currently seat
Well,
in the
yeah,
back, or?
pretty much. Of course, the Hallmark department was not near as extensive as it became later. We had we sold paint, so about a quarter of the west side was devoted to paint. The other was devoted to office and school supplies. At one time, prior to my being there, they sold everything. It was more like a general store. They sold appliances, electrical appliances, toys, and we continued to sell toys. Once they took in the east side, it was the prescription department side and the patent medicines. Also, we sold jewelry, cologne, cosmetics, gift items, and did very well. Back then, these were the days prior to the mass merchandisers, the Walmarts, Kmarts, Big K's.
But now you've stayed with, you don't sell paint anymore, I don't think, but you still got the glassware and the toiletries.
In the last few years, we've expanded that department. We cannot, honestly, in all opinion, compete with the chains on out front merchandise because they buy it directly from the manufacturer with, well, I don't know.
But that's been true all across the country.
Right, that's everywhere. That's why the Walmarts and
Yeah.
Kmarts have put out so many independent businesses. But we found that we can compete very well with the chains on prescriptions, given a level playing field. But we can compete or do better even than they can on the better higher end gift merchandise. And we expanded in the late 60s, early 70s. We expanded the Hallmark department to take in most of the west side and discontinued the paint and the office supplies and made that into a Hallmark, and the fountain was moved to the back. I have, in the last few years, kind of reduced the Hallmark department a little bit because things have changed with Hallmark, too. For years, Morse had prided themselves on carrying the best lines they could, and that included Russell Stover candies, Revlon cosmetics, Hallmark cards. Back in the early 60s, they were the name brands that prestige lines. And same way with cosmetics. We carried the prestige type cosmetic. But we no longer can compete in those departments with the mass merchandisers because they have their own.
Of course, I always think of the title as Moore's Rexall Drugs. Now that Rexall, that was a franchise, right, that they started?
It was a franchise much similar to, well, I'm not real sure, but similar to maybe the way McDonald's franchises. They're locally owned, but you operate under, it's independently owned, but you agree to follow their merchandising plan. 1 cent sales were big, and carry their brand, which were actually the first house brands available were the Rexall products, which
and that was a long history of that,
very
right?
long of that. Back when I keep bringing up mass merchandisers, but that changed the whole way of doing retail.
Okay.
When they got established, the Walmarts, Kmarts, Big K's, whatever, they started bringing out their house brands and cutting prices. So we could no longer compete with them on the scale that they do things.
Are there still Rexall franchises today, or is that?
There is a Rexall drug company, but it is basically down to about 2 products. It's a vitamin, few vitamins, and that's basically it. But for essential purposes, there is no Rexall. People still know us as that name, but there is absolutely no affiliation whatsoever, and has not been since the late 70s.
Okay.
We kept the name because that's what we're known as.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just it comes off the tongue because you're used to saying that.
And,
yeah. Well, I think I read in Gilbertine's book here that the way the store looked for many years was based on how another Rexall store looked in Los Angeles or somewhere, which I didn't know until I read it in here. But you've totally changed, not totally, but certainly changed the look of the exterior of the store. Tell me, what was the material that was on the exterior wall? And then tell me a little bit about taking that off, and I think you found some cast iron maybe that didn't know was there. Tell me a little bit of that story.
When they incorporated in 1950 and did a major remodeling and took the stores in, they put on the front was a siding of blue cobalt glass.
Okay.
It's a very expensive glass.
Yeah.
Even back in the 50s. And it stayed there a long time, but over the years it got chipped and cracked, and you can no longer get it replaced. It was made by Owens, Illinois, or people with big plate glass. Pittsburgh Paint and Glass made glass.
Okay.
They no longer manufactured the glass, so it couldn't get replacement glass. We tried different methods to duplicate that, sort of, when a piece would get broken. But it got to the point we could no longer do it. So, and around probably mid-'80s, I had blue vinyl put up over the blue glass, the cobalt blue glass. And that's what we went with. That's the only thing change was made. A couple of years ago, Renaissance approached me about the facelift, the Renaissance program.
Right,
downtown,
program
revitalizing
right.
downtown.
Right, and of course right down the street from you, the bank had done a lot
The
of
Simpson
their...
County, when Simpson County Bank became Union Planners, they did a major facelift.
on several storefronts, yeah.
And there was some money available through Renaissance, which is to help the store owners do storefronts only. They only did exteriors. They would not. They don't do anything interior.
Okay.
And to make the town basically more attractive to the local people, but to attract more out-of-town people, antique shoppers, the nostalgic look. A lot of small towns are doing that as a way to keep the downtown area alive.
Okay.
So they approached me, and I said I was willing to try. And, of course, like anything, it took a while to get it done. But basically,
There's a lot of paperwork.
the paperwork and
deal with Frankfurt, I guess.
right,
Yeah.
everything had to be approved. Actually, they drew up the plans. I don't think I had the choice to accept them or not. And I had some input, but basically they had an architect that worked for them to draw up the frontage. And then we hired I pretty much insisted on a local contractor if possible to do the work. And we had a guy that, local connections, is a local boy who lives in Bowling Green now, Phil Simpson. He's pretty much specializes in that type of thing.
Historical type.
Historical restoration. And he had the contract on that. And then I had, they suggested the color scheme. And I had a little bit input on that, but I basically went along with their suggestions.
Well, is it true though that they didn't know those cast iron?
Right, they drew up some. And then when they started tearing off, they had a architectural drawing of what they wanted, and so they were going with that. But when they pulled off the vinyl and the blue cobalt glass, which is underneath, and we were unable to salvage very much of that because it was all broken, chipped up. But after they got that off, they found the original iron columns that support the building. They were there since the buildings were built probably sometime in the time area.
1974.
Probably from sometime, probably right after the Civil War. Nobody knows for sure that I know about. But most of the buildings around the square seem to have been built about that time period. And once they were found and still in good condition, we wanted to keep those at all costs. So then they had to go back to the drawing board, redesign the front to incorporate that. But we're very glad that we did that.
You've got a lot of customers who are longtime customers. Has anybody come in and said, well, I can remember before they covered up that cast iron front, or is that so long ago that everybody just forgotten?
I've had one or two said that they liked that I made it look back like the original, but the thing about that is it never looked like that before. Before, the storefronts were just very plain. Before basically a building with two windows and a door.
Right. The posts might have been there, but
the
decorative work under the window and all that.
But all of the original brickwork is there. The frontage is all there. On this Renaissance, we did repair the mortar and stuff and add a molding, but they wanted to save the brickwork. And if anybody's ever downtown and wants to look, some of those old buildings have very good brickwork. And that's one of the main reasons Renaissance wants to maintain the storefronts. A lot of people don't notice it because they don't look up.
That's true.
You don't see the second story and the cornices across the top.
Right, have some names of the people
names,
who built the building.
And so much of that's been painted over or covered over the years, and they would like to bring that back out to make it look like it did maybe around the turn of the century, possibly.
Talking about this, looking up and seeing the second floor, did you all ever use your second floor? Was that ever open to the public?
Prior to my being there, back in the 30s and 40s, from what Mr. Duncan has told me, they sold appliances, and wallpaper, paint, wallpaper, just practically a general store.
Some of that upstairs.
And they would carry customers upstairs. Some of the items were kept up there, the appliances and the wallpaper. And it was used not only for a storeroom, but actually as selling space.
Now the stairs are in the back of the building.
Back of the building, right.
So would you have to walk through the prescription area to go upstairs, or did they have prescription and a little different?
Well, of course, you got two buildings. They would go up. Back then, it was only the right side, so you would go, well.
Yeah.
The prescription, I'm not real sure where the prescription department was prior to 1950. Come to think about it.
Has it since you've been there, has it always been in the same part of the store?
That same spot, right.
Right, okay. And you've got steps kind of beyond where your fountain is. You've got a storage area and steps.
Yes, right, in the back room. And we use it now just for storage. One thing that we probably don't think about, but we got ceiling tile in there now on the first floor,
Yeah.
but above that or outside, it's the old tin. Ceiling
yeah,
is still there.
yeah,
Also, the upstairs still has the original tin ceilings.
Is it in pretty good condition?
Well, it's been covered over so many times, it probably has a lot of nail holes in it.
Yeah.
But the upstairs is, except it's where it's rusted out or
Yeah.
been messed with. Because the contractor, when he went up there and looked, he said, you don't realize how much money you have in those tin ceilings. He said, is there any way that you would want to expose those? And at that time, I'm not prepared to, it would be a major expense to go back to the tin ceiling and have that refurbished. And plus it's been nailed into and so much. But
Maybe
it's
the
still,
one upstairs might be better than the one.
it's in better
between
shape.
first and
No,
second, but
it's probably, upstairs is probably salvageable.
Mhm.
Just take it down and have it buffed and shined.
Right. Well,
And it's, it's the, I know if you go in the Simpson County Union Planters Bank, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
mean,
always
it was that
Simpson
for
County Bank
years.
to
That's
me.
Right. That's right.
They put in their main lobby anyway, they had their tin ceiling put in. I don't know if it was original or just a facsimile. But you can notice that was a ceiling that was used back in that time period.
Right.
It's very expensive ceiling now if you wanted to buy it from scratch.
Actually, yeah. Well, while this work was going on the storefront, did you make some interior changes? I know you didn't expose the tin, but
We made it what I thought a major renovation on the surface anyway. We had the store rewired, and I thought, well, since we're doing that, we might as well go ahead and do everything so we won't have to mess up everything again, because this hopefully will be my last renovation.
yeah.
But we did a painting job, just kind of upgraded it to make it look better, lighter, more open. And we were quite pleased with, I had some local help on a lady here in town, Jill Broderson. Helped us a lot on our colors and layout. It may not be apparent to a lot of people, but we made some major changes inside to make it look more open,
Yeah.
lighter.
Well, I think it looks great. I mean, I think you've done a really good job. We were talking about when you started in the soda fountain being bigger. I guess particularly in the days before McDonald's and the fast food, Moore's was kind of the hangout for the high school crowd.
Right.
At least in my day it was. I wonder how far that goes back.
Back to the early 50s I know of, because when I was in high school, it was, that was the kids that lived in town, or what we used to call kind of rich kids.
Didn't have to go to work after school.
Went to Moore's after school and, hung out in there for an hour or so and had a good time. And that continued up the last several years. After McDonald's got established in town, the age group changed. We still had the kids, but we got younger children.
Younger, okay.
When you got your driver's license, you started going to McDonald's. You could drive down there and cruise around McDonald's, and meet down there.
Yeah.
So we started having the junior high kids. And then we got to the point where we were having some Lincoln age kids
That
coming
were
in.
walking there, yeah.
The last few years, it got, I hated to do it. I held on as long as I could. It got to be some problems with, I hate to say this on public television or public, but it's the truth. The discipline problem with children now is not what it was when we were younger. Children today do not want to be disciplined. I guess we never did want to be, but we were anyway.
But we accepted, yeah.
A lot of kids have never been exposed to much discipline. And it got to be a problem that they didn't want it. We had to get, well, let's just put it this way. When I felt like I no longer could control them, we had to kind of discourage them coming in there. I don't really, I'm not a mean person. Actually do like kids. Most of the kids don't believe that, but it got to be a problem.
Yeah.
90% of the kids were good kids at all age groups, but there's always a few that spoil it for the rest of them, and got to having shoplifting, vandalism, disrespect for our older customers. The language the kids use today is not what the older people like to hear.
Sure. Well, you're not saying anything, Robert, that hasn't already been talked about at city commission meetings that have been on television. So
And,
I don't think you're saying anything that's going to come as a surprise to anybody.
I was getting too many complaints from my older customers especially that they would not come to the store from 3 o'clock to 4 because they did not want to be exposed to the environment. So it's not that they're not welcome, it's just that if they don't want to abide by the rules.
Right. Well, now, I have heard that maybe there are some more changes in the offing for the fountain area. Are you at liberty to talk about that? Or?
Well, it's been published in other media.
Okay, well then let's talk about it. What's going to happen?
The soda fountain, of course, most drugstores took out soda fountains years and years ago because they were a losing proposition. I tried to maintain it at all costs. I looked on it as a public relations thing. Rather than spending more money on advertising, I just accepted the loss from the fountain as an advertising expense, basically.
Yeah.
Goodwill.
Loss leader,
Goodwill.
Yeah.
But since our biggest problem over the years that we couldn't do anything about was lack of parking. People now are used to drive-through windows.
Yeah.
When you go to lunch, working people go to lunch, they don't want to get out of the car.
Right.
And we didn't have a drive-through window. We didn't have adequate parking. Plus the fact that the number of people working around the square has decreased a whole lot. So our business went down. We still had a pretty good colony. It got to the point that maintaining the fountain was just one of our major problems. I was approached through the Renaissance program, I was put in contact with the guy in Bowling Green that runs a bed and bagel. Bread and bagel, that's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
And he was interested in leasing that space and operating it as a bread and bagel.
Right.
As a separate entity. You know, he would be totally responsible. There'd be a business inside another business. We had hoped to have it up and going before now, but there's been some little hang-ups about getting everything lined up. We're ready pretty much for them. He still has a few things to work out with on his end. It will happen unless some major problem devises.
Well, what's going to happen to your regular coffee drinkers? You have a coffee club.
That will be. They're not going to be real happy, and I hate that. I really would like to keep it like it is for their sake.
Yeah.
But since he's leasing the space, I will have no say-so.
He gets to do. Yeah,
I can make recommendations to him, but it's his business to run the way he wants to run it.
But as of right now, don't have any firm date as to when that might happen.
I was hoping 1st of July, but right now that's coming up pretty fast. I don't think it's going to. I don't really know what the problem is. He's not real specific. I still have a little bit to do. I need to get the floor repaired back there. There's some problems there. We still have a little painting and cleaning up to do. A lot cleaning up to do, but that could be worked out pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the fountain and we've talked about other things you sell, but the name of the business is the Ware Drug Company. So let me ask you before we run out of time here, and we don't have much left. As a pharmacist, I'll bet that over that 40 years you've had your share of times of coming in the middle of the night to fill prescriptions, and do you get have you had to come in after hours, or do you you're open later than some stores, and I assume that's because some of your customers can't come before 5 o'clock. I mean, in the kind of business you're in, do you pretty much have to have longer hours than other businesses
Well, we
would?
try to be open at least till the doctors have gotten out of their office,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want to. But
Somebody leaves the doctor's office, he needs to be able to go fill out
right,
the prescription. Yeah.
our official hours are 8 to 6 Monday through Friday,
Okay.
and 8 to 2 on Saturday,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm available Sunday morning. I'm available at night if I'm home or you can find me
Mm-hmm.
for an emergencies. Actually, we don't have as many after-hours calls as we used to.
Oh, that's good, I guess.
I guess people are accustomed to chains and the way they operate there.
Mm-hmm.
But I will still go down for our regular customers after hours if it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I have gone down for non-customers. I mean, well, I guess they're technically our customer, but they're not regular
Not a
customers.
regular, yeah. yeah.
Of course, one of the chains stays open later.
Mhm.
They get a little bit of that. But
But now, are you open on Sunday between Sunday school and church, or? you work one time?
unofficially, I am. I'm there.
Okay.
And my theory has been if I'm there, I'm open.
Uh-huh.
Unless I'm really doing something I can't be. If I'm doing some computer work or something and I can't be distracted, then I will have to lock the door.
Right.
But if I'm there, I will fill prescriptions. I don't make a big deal out of it because I'm there pretty much by myself, except for maybe a coffee drinker or two may be in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can only do so much.
Right.
And I don't encourage. I'm there for basically for emergencies because people go to the emergency room on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only one available on Sunday morning, so I go in and fill what
Well,
emergency.
at least you don't have to go up front and mix paint.
No, we don't do paint anymore, and I don't have the time to do fountain or anything like that other than coffee.
How hard is it dealing with the insurance companies? I mean, we hear a lot in the news about health care and a lot of talk about a prescription drug benefit.
Third
for
party,
seniors
well,
and-
we refer to those as third party.
Okay.
We can compete with anybody if the playing field's level, but
Mhm.
it's not level.
Okay.
I can compete locally with the chains
Mm-hmm.
on prescription because I don't make as much money as the pharmacists do at Rite Aid, Walmart. I don't know what they make, but the things I see published,
But they're probably all on salary. rather
they're
than
on
they're
salary. They
own
work there
business.
48 hours, and then
Yeah.
they put in their 48 hours. They go home. They don't
Right.
own the store.
Right.
They're hired employees.
Right.
But our biggest problem, and this is a problem the chains are having also, is mail order.
Mm.
That's where the customers have little or no choice. The insurance companies are mandating mail order. They don't have. I've never heard anybody yet that likes mail order,
Mm-hmm.
but they're forced to use it for economical reasons. The
Okay.
insurance company dictates it.
So it's gotten bigger since
There's
the
not a day
internet.
goes by that we're not asked to supply a person with a 3 or 4, 7-day supply of medicine because their mail order got lost.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get it ordered in time. I get calls and questions. The pills come in through mail order. They look different. What are they? Are they the right thing?
Yeah, how do you know, if you
Well-
can get it sent in? I guess they're regulated some way, but,
Well, if you got enough education and can read and everything, usually you can figure it out because they usually send it, but you have to do a lot of reading.
mm-hmm.
They send the literature with it, which most people don't read.
Right.
I don't hold anything against my regular customers because I know if they had a free choice, they would
Mm-hmm.
keep their business local.
Mhm.
The thing about mail order people that they don't realize, and the state is the biggest violator of all,
Mm-hmm.
they're now almost mandating that their state employees go mail order.
Mm-hmm.
Mail order people, there is not a mail order house in the state of Kentucky.
Hmm.
They pay $0 tax.
Right. Yeah.
They pay absolutely nothing into the state of Kentucky for the privilege of doing business in the state of Kentucky.
Mhm.
Whereas us local people are taxed through the ears.
Yeah.
We pay taxes on
Mm-hmm.
city, local, county, state, federal.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do pretty much is regulated, and we pay a tax
Mm-hmm.
or a permit of some sort. to finance local and state government.
Mm-hmm.
So we're asked to pay the mail order share. We're losing business to mail order,
Mm-hmm.
and we're actually being taxed more
Right.
because
And-
they aren't paying any of their
And
share.
the internet has made all that.
Internet is coming in, and now there are people going to Canada,
Right.
which is a big, iffy question. It's kind of semi-legal.
Uh-huh.
It's not totally legal, but it's not totally illegal either. So
Right.
it's kind of
And
in limbo
illegal
right now. They're trying to figure out that. I have no control over that because the prices I'm charged, I shop around for the best prices I can get.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you know, everybody complains about the price of drugs, and I agree. I'll be the first to agree they're high because I see them. I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But I have no control over that.
You're talking about people not reading the paperwork. Do customers, do they ask you for advice about side effects, or can I take this with that? And
Basically, that is what my job is. My job should not be counting and pouring pills.
Mhm.
My job should be counseling
I see.
and answering questions. And
Mhm.
you have farm techs and assistants to do the actual counting and pouring. I started out the old way where I counted and poured and typed the label and so on and so
Mhm.
forth. So I like to continue doing that, but I do need to.
Mm-hmm.
The focus now for pharmacists is to do counseling,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Our-
it seems
our-
to me the way people see doctors now, sometimes somebody would see a specialist, or maybe they're in a HMO and they see a doctor that they haven't been seeing for a long time. And if they don't tell that doctor everything they're taking, he might prescribe something that they shouldn't be taking with something else that they're already on, and that new doctor might not know it. And it would seem like maybe, is it your job to kind of catch stuff like that, or does that happen occasionally?
Well,
you
that's
think?
assuming that they bring all their prescriptions to
Well, that's
to
true,
mowers.
if they got it
If they
somewhere
if they take it to multiple, if they have multiple doctors and multiple pharmacies, there's not, almost no way to monitor what they're taking,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be a problem
Mm-hmm.
because people go into the emergency room, they call me and want to know what a patient's taking.
Right.
Well, I can only tell them what I feel for them. I can't tell them what they've gotten at other places. I have no access to what
true.
they've gotten
That's
someplace
true.
else. Back to the third party, most third parties are going to a formulary system, and that's
Mhm.
just a matter of economics.
Mm-hmm.
They have an agreement with the drug manufacturers to use their products.
Mm-hmm.
I have no say-so whatsoever about that.
Mm-hmm.
If the doctor prescribes a drug for you and you have insurance and it's not on their preferred list, they're going to charge you extra to use that brand. They're going to suggest that you get it switched to something that's on the formulary to get a smaller copay.
Right.
We will assist in doing that, but we have guidelines and laws that we have to abide by, plus try to satisfy you,
Yeah.
plus mainly we have to satisfy
Yeah.
the person who's paying the bill, which is the insurance company. I mean,
Right.
the one that pays the bill ultimately makes the shots. They mandate the prices. I have almost little to no control over what third party pays.
Mm-hmm.
I sign a contract agreeing to accept their plans or not to.
Right.
And then and people think I set the prices. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
On third party, that is mandated by
Yeah.
the contract with the third party, and they amend that at will.
You and the customer standing there looking at one another,
And-
but neither one of you has as much clout as the faceless.
Right. All I can do, I can get on the phone and raise hell with the insurance company,
Yeah.
but the person I'm talking to is not the one making the decision.
That's true.
right.
You'll
They,
say,
they
"Well,
say,
that
well,
wasn't up
I
to
don't have
me."
anything to do with it. I just,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
But it's like every other business. It's a changing thing every day. It changes.
we began, Robert, I said this was the oldest business in town to operate continuously at the same location. It's, what are we talking about, 127 or something?
Something in the
years like
neighborhood,
that?
yeah. 1874,
28, yeah.
26, 20,
Uh,
29 years, something like that.
Well, you see the future bringing. You intend to stay there for pretty good little while yet. What's the future going to bring?
Well, it's a one-man, pretty much I'm a one-man store. I mean, I have good help, but I'm the only registered pharmacist. So if, by law, if those doors are open, there has to be a registered pharmacist, pretty much in the prescription department.
Are you going to go out and recruit somebody like
I would like
Mr.
to have
Duncan
some,
recruited you?
I would love to, and I've been trying to for years, except the kids coming out of college now are going to change because they can start them out at a much higher salary than I can afford to pay them.
Yeah.
They soon get burnt out with change, but I'm to the age that I would like to slow down. But actually, I'm putting in more hours now than I ever did in my life. I'm working harder now than I ever did, under more stress, when you get 60 and plus, you want to start slowing down. But on the other hand, I do not want to be noted as the one that closed Moore's drugstore.
Yeah.
I could sell it tomorrow to a chain if I wanted to, because chains buy out their competition where they can.
Right.
That's all they do. They have no idea. They would come to me. They would have no idea of keeping Moore's drugstore alive. They would buy, basically what they would do is buy
it to just
the
eliminate
competition,
the
buy it to close it.
Right, right.
And probably get me to go to work for them during the transition period. I do not want to be the one going in the book as closing the drugstore. There was a time period back after Mr. Red died when a lot of small businesses were in very big trouble, including Moore's. There were a few years where it was questionable if we were going to be able to stay there when the interest rate went up to 18, 19%. And we were operating on borrowed money. And we weren't making enough profit to just barely keep the interest paid. It was a very rough time. But I was not, like I say, I had enough pride in myself that financially would have been 10 times better off to lock the door and gone to work at a double the salary somewhere else. But I did not want to be the one that people said, well, he just wasn't man enough to handle it. He took a business and couldn't handle it. So I was determined.
So that's a big motivator there, yeah.
And Carl, he was a partner up until, and he worked probably a couple of years longer than he really should have. He did the best he could with his health conditions. He worked when he really could hardly stand up. But after he got out and his death shortly thereafter, it's been, and even while he was sick, most of the responsibility fell back on me because of his health condition.
Well, that loyalty that you feel to the company and keeping it open, I think you have other employees that kind of feel that way. Don't you have still some folks who've been there for a long, long time?
Well, we used to laugh and say that when you went to work at Moore's, you worked till you died. We've had several employees, 2 or 3 that come to mind was Miss Eugenia Thurman. She worked till she was 88 years old, and she died at home. She would have been at work if she died on Memorial Day. She died on Labor Day. Otherwise, she would probably have died standing behind the counter. Miss Edna Swift worked there. Off and on, she left a time or two, but came back. She would have worked till the day she died. Well, she did. She worked the day that she died. Well, not really. She worked one day and went home and had a stroke, evidently, an hour, probably within an hour after she got home from work. And she never recovered from that. Those are 2 that are very special people that I remember. There have been others. We've had people that, and that's another reason I don't want to close the store. I mean, it would be to my economic advantage right now to call a broker and sell it to a chain. I could hopefully I own the buildings, so I could rent those out, and I'd have an income from the buildings plus but I would not want. I've got very loyal employees, most of them. I do not want to put them out of a job.
Right.
And
right.
change say they won't get rid of them, but they do. They'll keep
Yeah.
you on.
Yeah.
You know, they have a way of weeding out
Right.
people.
Well, money's not everything, is it?
I would hope that I would be able to take care of my good employees. The ones that have been loyal to me, I want to be loyal to them.
Yeah. Well, Robert, thanks for coming in to talk to me.
Well, I appreciate it.
We had to work to find a day that you were off work because you work all the
Well,
time.
our schedules don't, well, it's, time is my most valuable commodity. It's
Right.
the thing I'm scarcest
Right.
of.
I understand. Well, thanks for coming in. Now,
Well,
there's a lot of history to Moore's, and it's good that you're carrying on that tradition, and it's a very proud tradition. So,
Well, I've have a lot of good friends and a lot of good associations with people. Of course, I have enemies too. I've made a lot of people mad.
oh no, surely not.
They probably hate my guts, but overall, I was basically doing what I thought was best for the business.
Well, Robert, you hang in there.
And well, I appreciate the opportunity to tell my side of the story.
All right. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
We've been visiting today with Robert Graves, the owner of Moore's, I still call it Moore's Rexall Drugs,
That's fine.
A fixture on the south side of the square in Franklin since 1874. And if Robert has anything to do with it, it will continue to be a fixture on the south side of the square. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the program. We'll see you shortly with another segment.